Welcome back to Reality Armchair. This is Survivor season 48, episode 6.
This is the merge episode.
Mm-hmm.
Today's vinyl wall. We have Weezer's Blue album. Kind of made sense.
Well, why are we doing blue?
We're doing blue because that is the new buffs for the merge. It was
the new tribe color.
Oh yeah, the new tribe color is blue, which I didn't predict on camera, but I did predict it. I thought it would be blue or pink. So we have Weezer's Blue album because it's Blue album. Killer's Hot Fuss and Enema of the State's, or no, Blink-182's Enema of the State and Saint Motel's Symphony in the Sky. We actually just got this record
in today,
and it came with this. Well, I bought this shirt. Saint Motel.
We bought it back in
February.
It
was during the wildfires. It says Saint Motel as in LA. So I think, if I'm correct, these are all 90s records besides the Saint Motel record that came out this year. I think Weezer's 90s, Killer's might be early 2000s. I think Enema of the State is also like 99. I could be wrong.
But they're good records.
They're very good records. I love...
And if you haven't listened to Saint Motel, do yourself a favor.
You should, yeah. If I had to pick a favorite up here, though, it would probably be
Blink-182.
It would be either that or Weezer. Although I have a really soft spot for Hot Fuzz. Although I do think Sam's Town is better. But anyway, that being said, this is going to be a recap commentary about this new episode of Survivor. We are on Spotify and Apple Podcast. We would love if you watch this throughout its entirety to tell us what you think. Oh my God.
Our cats are fighting.
Our cats are tweaking right now, but tell us what you think about this episode. I think we'll have a good amount to say. Leave a like and subscribe if you liked.
And also, what are we drinking?
Oh yeah, today we're drinking Josh Merlot. What is it? We're drinking.
Yes, it is Merlot.
Josh Merlot. This was actually a meme last year. A lot of people were talking about Josh and I don't know why the Josh wine on Twitter at least became like a pretty big meme.
Twitter is
different
space.
They pick specific things to hyperfixate on, and Josh was one of them. It's a really good wine. I remember seeing this one image. I put it up on screen. It was of a butler penguin, and
oh my God.
He says, "You're Josh, sir," or something like that. And then it says right here, "I created my wines as a tribute to my dad, Josh. He's always on my mind. Joseph Sellers."
His last name is Sellers?
Oh, no, wait. Joseph Carr, founder, Josh Sellers.
Oh, it says right there.
Joseph Carr.
Anyways, it's gross.
It's gross?
Yeah, it's very gross.
Are you serious?
I'm not a fan of Merlot.
That's delicious. I love Merlot. Merlot and Cab are like my two favorites. Is it just red?
I feel like Merlot is more sour.
I like sour. I like IPAs. If you don't like IPAs, you can fucking talk to a wall because IPAs are some of the best beers of all time. Me. Again, she can talk to a wall because IPAs is for real men who know how to drink. It's higher alcohol count.
Well, I'm not a man. So...
Well, I'm just saying there's a lot of sissy men who are like, oh no, it's not.
Really, you want to go into this?
I'm just saying I'm willing to die on this hill because...
All right, let's get into the episode.
Whatever,
how about that? So once again, we're back seeing Say come back from tribal council because she has only been out of one tribal council.
And right off the bat, she's like mad at Cedric.
She's mad at Cedric because...
she thinks he voted for her?
Yeah. And Cedric's like, you don't even know what happened. And then he explains what happened, that 5 minutes before going, Bianca told him that she lost her vote. So all he could do was pull Chrissy to get her to vote for Bianca as well. So then Say kind of backs down, and then she like just has to throw it out to Mitch, like, how dare you vote for me? And he's like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was a little
and then Cedric was like, you don't owe her an apology. And then I think Say was like, well, I owe Chrissy an apology too because I voted for her. and we were bamboozled by Bianca, and so they all kind of got over it. But I think obviously by the end of the episode, we see that Say still
which is
has a grudge
crazy
against Cedric.
because all it takes is one vote for yourself to not get voted out.
Yeah.
So she got pretty lucky this
Yeah,
episode.
she did. So then after that, it's just the merge. Everybody's opening the letter that says it's merge time. Drop your buffs, which we always think is crazy. Like, do they get their buffs back?
I do wonder. I feel like that has to be something production tells them. Like, you have to do it for like theatric reasons. Because if I were on the island, I'm not throwing a buff. Like, I'm keeping the buff.
Yeah.
I'm keeping every single buff I get.
I guess they always do say like there's an auction at the end of a season for Survivor stuff.
I have peeped the auction. I don't think I've ever seen buffs. It's mostly like the props they use for the show, like the pen they use for tribal and some other stuff like that.
That would be a question to look up, I guess. So then they're all going to the Loggy Beach to become one tribe, but it just says Merge Beach for the whole time because we don't know their color or their name. So
up until
Kyle
wins.
Yeah. So everybody arrives. It has an interview with Say and Mary, both saying like Say's like so excited to see Mary, never would have thought it, but I love that girl, or whatever she said. And then Mary was like, yeah, no, I have like knots and I don't feel good about seeing Say. I don't want to play with her.
Although they do end up talking like they're strong when they get back on the island. I think it's pretty further into the episode. Cedric and Say are talking.
I don't remember seeing that.
They talk about who they want to get out, and they're like, oh, well, Eva has the idol, but Charity is the easy vote. They're kind of in their own section, so I think they're all individually playing with. It feels like Cedric and Star have a pretty good bond. Say kind of doesn't have anyone. Mary, not as much, but
I haven't really seen Mary have a connection.
Yeah, I think she's just gonna blend in the back.
She's gonna be like the middle vote.
Yeah, like the swing vote.
So then it's revealed that there's an advantage and for the upcoming challenge. So they all have to try and go find it out on the beach.
Oh my god, it's the highlight of the episode.
That was pretty good. Charity sees Say go off on kind of a path by herself, and she's like, nah, I'm gonna follow her. And then Charity like is turning around and she sees the advantage and she starts running for it, and then out of nowhere Say like cuts her off and gets it.
And granted, like I'll try to put it up on the screen if I can find it of it actually happening, because I feel like we're not doing it justice, but like Say is like nowhere to be seen, and just like out of the bushes she fucking darts out and like cuts in front of her. It
was pretty impressive. She was obviously way faster than Charity.
Yeah, it was. I felt like Charity kind of gave up because she saw her pass her, but it was crazy. Like it was maybe like 5 feet, and Say swooped in and just snatched it. Okay. Sorry for that abrupt cut. Vienna woke up. Took about 10 minutes for her to go back down, but we're back. We were last talking about Say stealing that advantage from. She didn't really steal it, but she
just beat Charity out
it. Yeah, she just beat Charity. I guess they both probably saw it at the same time, but from a different distance. And
I am wondering if they saw it at the same time, or if Say started watching Charity and saw that Charity saw it, and then she found it, and then she just started dashing for it. Yeah, she was like nowhere around where Charity was.
It was a pretty wide shot, and they didn't
show Say until she was literally coming right in front of Charity. It was pretty good. So Say gets the advantage. There's a moment between Joe and David bonding over drinking a gallon of milk a day,
which is fucking disgusting,
and that it's mainly chocolate milk that they drink.
And a gallon of milk is what we buy, right?
Yeah.
That drinking, just
It's a
imagining
lot.
drinking that much
It's a
is
lot.
fucking disgusting.
It's a lot. And then Shaheen makes a comment saying Joe's pecs are really nice, and maybe that's where he actually says they're immaculate.
Yeah, he says they're immaculate, which is
And
crazy to
it
say.
gets gayer in the after.
Crazy thing to say about another man's pecs. The word immaculate is
Immaculate.
insane.
And I just thought that was funny. He was like, well, maybe the milk is helping those immaculate pecs.
Wild thing to say
Yeah.
about another man.
It is interesting though that the two most like buff guys are the ones drinking a gallon of milk a day. Is there any correlation
Strong
there?
bones.
So then it has a conversation. It shows a conversation between Joe and Eva where they both say they're still their number ones, and she shares that Star gave her the idol, and then they talk about how they want to have an honest game, honest players with integrity.
Do Joe and Eva talk about that?
I think they started it because
they did?
that in that conversation they decide that it's going to be Shaheen, Joe, Eva, David, and Kyle because they're the most honest players.
I thought David was the one that was spearheading that. He kept bringing it up. He even brought it up at Tribal.
I think that somebody said it to him and he clung to that. Or maybe they heard him saying that and they're like, yeah, that's what
Yeah, so for like the next 5 minutes, they're just talking about like, we really need a winner that's going to be loyal and has integrity and isn't backstabbing.
Shut the fuck up. Like, I hate that. Like, I'm not a fan of that because we're on Survivor, $1 million game, and it is outwit, outlast, outplay.
At least like 4 players not playing honest or have integrity, which they probably do in real life, but this is again a game.
This is a game,
and
also we don't want to watch honest and loyal people.
I think the last person we saw who was honest and loyal was the old guy who donated his money to charity. Yeah. He was pretty honest and he didn't really like seem.
But these people aren't going to be donating their money to charity.
Yeah, especially not David. Yeah.
Yeah, David's gonna go home and show this $1 million check to his ex-girlfriend and be like, "Don't you want to be with me now? We can have kids.
Yeah.
And I can move out of my trailer."
Yeah, I just think
I just wrote like David goes off on a rant about being honest and how loyal people should win and not backstabbing and
it's interesting because they have the numbers. So as long as they are loyal, like, and they don't backstab, which I guess spoilers for the next episode, they show a clip of Camilla saying they're trying to frame Shaheen. Mm-hmm. I don't know what the frame is for or what they're trying to. I mean, obviously they're trying to get him out, but obviously that's a non-loyal and integral person sabotaging that alliance.
Shaheen? Or
no,
you mean
Camilla.
Kyle? Camilla's not in that alliance.
I know, but she said she's going to frame Shaheen. So I'm saying that Camilla is the non-integral person infiltrating that alliance. And
because Kyle is a liar.
Well, yeah, they don't.
As a game player,
they don't know.
He said that he is. He and Camilla's relationship is built on deception.
So they don't know that Kyle's number one is actually Camilla.
And he actually claimed her this time.
Yeah, and they don't really talk on the island besides by themselves.
They're actually like doing this undercover.
Yeah, it's...
Which is crazy because Siva should have seen that Kyle and Camilla were...
always talking.
Were number ones.
Yeah.
But I guess that nobody witnessed the moment when Camilla opened the idol for Kyle.
That is true. It's only them two.
So... But they're deceiving everyone that they're not actually in an alliance.
Yeah, and it's interesting because there's one side of the island that is these brolicky men and Eva, who is basically a brolicky man as well. And then there's the other side, which is the heathens, the unintegral people, even though I would say
most of them aren't playing deviously.
Yeah, I would say like Chrissy is playing nothing really. Cedric is playing pretty loyal to Say. kind of, even though you voted for her twice. And then there's Mitch, who's like pretty loyal as well to a fault.
Well, they want a Siva 6.
They want to. That's their whole thing. Is like most of them want Siva 6 strong,
I
but
wouldn't even say most of them. I think it's just Charity and Mitch who
and
believe
Chrissy.
that. Chrissy believes it, I guess.
But the other 3 are in this alliance with the rest of the people that are
Because it's Camilla, Kyle, and who was the other one?
Camilla, Kyle,
David.
Charity.
David
was on Logie, wasn't he? Oh no, he wasn't.
We already said Charity.
Yeah. No, it was David. Because I thought David was on the purple team, but he just met them for the first time right now.
Yeah, he was on Siva.
So David is the only one from Siva that is part of that alliance?
No, Kyle is.
Oh, so Kyle and David, yeah. So they like kind of want Siva 6 strong. That's like their backup alliance is the rest of Siva. So Siva isn't as close as they really are. I would say Mitch's now number 1 is probably going to be Chrissy. He just lost his number 1.
Yeah, that's probably true. It's probably true. Well, just that whole thing of like David saying like we deserve it. We deserve to win, man.
Yeah, he was saying that it's finally time for a deserving Survivor winner that is loyal and or has integrity.
I'm guessing he did not watch last season. Usually the season prior, they haven't seen it.
They film while it's airing,
which because like to say that Rachel didn't deserve to win would be insane.
I would say most of the Survivor. No, that's not true. I don't think Dee deserved to win. I think.
No, I'm saying Rachel.
No, I know, but I was about to say I think all the previous Survivor winners within the past 5 years have deserved to win. I would say
Dee did not. Yeah.
I would say that they're runner up. The people who have won. I don't think Dee should have won. I don't think
the redhead
should have won. I guess Yam Yam winning was fine.
I think, yeah, you know, the thing about this game is that at the end, it is the jury that votes for the winner.
That's another big thing I wanted to bring up, but you keep going.
And sometimes they don't choose the right person, and that's
exactly. Like a prime example was 2 seasons ago when Charlie was supposed to get a vote from his number 1, but he kind of low-key backstabbed her and she took it personally and she spite voted for the other person when Charlie deserved to win. But what I thought of when they were doing this whole integral thing was like, now that I think about it, these people who are going to be on jury are going to be looking at people with integrity. So if like the final jury or the final 3 is like Say, and let's say hypothetically it was Charity and it was Chrissy, they were probably going to vote Chrissy because she played an integral game. And like
I don't know. I think that Joe and David are the biggest ones that are like honesty, integrity.
I would see Kyle voting right. But it just seems like I don't know. I feel like the more they talk to each other, the more they're hanging out with each other, the more they're going to have this like connection and like appreciation for this ideal final where it's people with integrity. At least David is really fucking selling that
David is
idea
all over that. I think that's gonna get him voted out.
Yeah, but like I said, if it's a jury full of people who have that same belief system, like we're gonna get another shitty winner who didn't deserve to win, in my opinion. Although Rachel was a good winner.
I don't know. I think at the end when they give their speech and the reason why they deserve to win, I want to hear how they outwit, outlast, and outplayed everybody else.
Exactly. Like people who win these shows are winning not because they got to the end. They win because they made the best moves and the most strategic moves to get there. And they were always saying, you got to build up your resume. You got to build up your resume. And if you don't have a resume and you just got there because you're the GOAT and like you're just dragged along because you're easy to win against, I mean,
it's also just ridiculous to say that you're honest and full of integrity when you literally have to vote people out. Like, and in this vote, it's not like David went up to, who did he end up voting for? Was it Say?
No, I think he voted
David either voted for Say or Charity.
Yeah,
And
he
it's
didn't
not
talk
like
to
he
either of
went
them.
up to them and said, I'm voting for you.
He also
So-
just never talked to them.
Yeah.
I don't think he said a single word to them on the entire merge.
Yeah. It's ridiculous, is my opinion. Charity suggests getting Eva out because she has the idol. That's when Chrissy tells, was it Chrissy? No, it was Charity that knows that Eva has the idol. So she suggests to Siva to get Eva out.
Which I think at this point she just needs to burn the idol.
Yeah.
It's causing too much conflict.
It's putting a target on her back. And then
or maybe just publicly give it back to Star.
Yeah.
Because then people will know Star has it and she's close with Star, so Star will probably never use the idol against her.
Yeah. But what happens after that was that Charity actually goes to Star and suggests that she ask for the idol back from Eva. And Star was like,
it pretty hard.
That's
too.
crazy. And I'm going to go tell Eva and Joe right now.
Yeah.
And she does. And then obviously Charity becomes the target.
Which is a
that.
funny contrast because I think on one of the earlier episodes when they were showing conflict between Logie, I think who it was
Star was
no it was Eva was telling Star, she was trying to talk game with her, and she was like, I think we need only one puzzler, we don't need two puzzlers,
right?
And she suggested throwing out Charity if they ever lost, and Star immediately went to Charity and said, yo, Eva's throwing out your name, we got to get her out.
Yeah, because that was when she hated Eva.
Yeah, so now the tables have turned, and Star or Charity is talking shit about Eva and saying we should get her out, or we should at least take the idol back. And then she immediately runs over to Eva, which I will say, I don't think I ever predicted that I would ever like Star.
She has changed.
It's just like a flip was switched when that whole autism reveal happened, and she's just like
a lot. Her personality is alive.
It's more compassionate. Like again, another spoiler. Cedric completely fumbles the challenge, and he's like really beating himself up over it, and Star is like comforting him, and it's like a pretty genuine moment that I would never expect to see from Star, and I don't know, I like it, and I think it's weird. I had never thought I would root for Say, but I was rooting for Say this episode as well. I think every season going into it, the first like 2 episodes, I'm like, I don't give a fuck about any of these people, I'm never gonna remember their names. But I think this season there's been a lot of compelling people and a lot of character development.
Yeah. So in between the commercials,
oh yeah,
I wanted to mention we watched Yellow Jackets. So there was Yellow Jackets Survivor edition, and that was pretty wild to see Jeff like do that.
Yeah, you could tell it was like all on a sound stage and they weren't actually in the same room.
But
it was pretty funny. I remember they started doing these Paramount commercials like with crossovers of like SpongeBob, and I think they even had one with Jeff. They were like on a mountain, which is the logo for the Paramount, and they had a bunch of like Paramount original characters kind of collabing. I think it was a Super Bowl commercial actually, so it was pretty cool. It's funny, I think we're watching 3 shows right now. We're watching at least that are concurrently airing, which is Below Deck and Survivor and the Yellow Jackets. And the challenge. And the challenge. 4 shows, holy shit.
But the challenge and Survivor come out on the same night. Yellow Jackets is Friday. Below Deck is Tuesday.
Yeah, so I just think it was funny that I would say the 2 shows we're most invested in right now are probably Yellow Jackets and Survivor.
Yeah.
And I always forget that they're both broadcasted on Paramount.
Yeah.
Really, the only reason to fucking have Paramount. Paramount fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Paramount Plus is slow, expensive, and is worthless if you have YouTube TV.
But if you want to talk about Yellow Jackets, let us know, because
for real, Yellow Jackets has started picking up. It was kind of a slow season 3, but
the episode before last was like,
yeah, it was pretty.
I have not stopped thinking about it, honestly.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited. I think there's only 2 episodes left.
Yeah, there's only 2.
I'm worried that it's gonna
kind of die off,
fall on its face at the end, but I'm hoping, I don't know, we get closer to some questions. I feel like it's kind of on the trajectory of Lost, where it's like, it keeps setting up questions and answering very little questions, and it's like I just need some questions answered.
Yeah, but thanks for making us go on a Yellow Jackets rant. They're Paramount Plus.
Yeah.
So then we get into the reward and immunity challenge. The first half of it is to determine who gets the reward, because they divide them into 2 teams of 6, and then that's when it's revealed that when Say got the advantage, it meant that she could sit out and that she was going to the second part of it automatically. So she was already going to be able to eat, and then she could compete for the immunity necklace. And then, so the first part was like going through mud. They had to get really dirty. Joe reminds us like what mud means.
No, it was Jeff.
Jeff, not Joe.
Jeff, I think he says something like, "This mud is birthing you into the new merge," or something like that. And I really hate when he uses the word birth as like a.
He talks about that on the On Fire podcast every single time they have mud in a challenge, and it's funny to hear him say that in a challenge.
Yeah, he was pretty sassy this challenge.
He was super sassy, actually. Super sassy.
He's getting pretty lippy.
He must have watched the reel of
Yeah.
him doing that. Okay, so then Cedric has that moment of like losing it, like he cannot get up the end.
I don't think I've ever seen a more pathetic challenge.
I've definitely seen more pathetic, but that was pretty bad.
No, I'm talking about like consistently.
I mean,
I guess
you haven't seen all of the
I guess
seasons.
that's true. Sandra has always been pretty shitty at challenges. I mean, that was her whole strategy, was to not show herself.
There's been some really bad people.
I don't know, every challenge, like Cedric never fails to fail. Like, and he's usually the reason why, if it's a team event, which it always has been, he's the reason why they lose typically.
Yeah, and you feel bad for him. It's funny to watch, but
it's funny.
You still feel bad for him.
It is funny, but I do feel bad because he reminds me of like, I think he's a really sweet guy.
Yeah.
I just don't think he's built for Survivor.
Well, and like what Star said later was like, you're used to being great because he's a doctor.
Yeah, he's a doctor.
He's a surgeon.
Doctors have
the biggest egos. So I think this is super humbling for him, and it will probably do him well to be humbled like this back in his life.
And I just need to point out, what he was struggling with, because I think he was doing fine pretty much the entire challenge up until
everybody, they were all like neck and neck the entire time up until they had to run up.
It was this like Ninja Warrior wall where you have to climb up it and then hold onto the rope and pull yourself up. And it was so bad that scrawny Mitch was lifting him up on the rope.
Mitch isn't actually that scrawny. I don't think he's that scrawny.
Really?
I think he has muscles.
Maybe.
He has more than Cedric.
Well, yeah, obviously, but Cedric was legitimately sideways.
Yeah,
like
being pushed up.
He was being pushed up by his abs, and he was completely sideways.
Yeah.
It was just like...
That's rough, man.
I think the reason why it was bad was because he didn't go down to retry. So he ran up the wall. And
he did it several times, though. He tried several times.
Well, he gave up on the last try, and it took him like 5 minutes to get him up.
Well, I would also say that Purple had a way better strategy. They had David go up first, and then it was Kyle, and they left a gap in between the two.
So they were still on the rope.
And then it was who ran up?
Camilla, I think.
Camilla? Yeah, Camilla. So then she made it up, and then she was at the top, like pulling people up as well. So then whoever ran up in the middle made it up, and so they got over really quick.
So I think it was only Mitch on the wall besides Cedric, and then somebody on top pulling up as well.
No, it was Shaheen.
Was it? Well,
no, it was Joe.
Joe made it up the wall first, and then Shaheen. This is another pretty like crazy part. Was Shaheen was like, "Just step on my neck, bro."
No, Joe said that.
Was it Joe?
Yeah, it was Joe.
And he was like, "All right, bet," and he just like put all his weight on his neck and was like pushing
literally
hard.
with his shoes. Yeah, I was like, that has got
and
to
a grown
hurt.
man do it. Like Vienna does that to us.
I actually noticed.
What?
I actually noticed that Joe had like some scabbing on his shoulder. That must have been what it was from. I thought it was like sun damage, but
he had a lot of scabs. But yeah, I didn't notice
that had to have been.
But like, yeah, like a grown man doing that to you on your neck and your shoulder, like that must fucking hurt.
Yeah.
Because like typically in those scenarios when you're boosting somebody, it's more leveled correctly. But he was even when he wasn't like, I don't know. You would just have to watch the episode to see how like terrible the form was. But
So then it was David and Camilla on the puzzle for purple, Mitch and Shaheen for orange, and purple ends up winning. So the winners who go into the individual immunity are Mary, Chrissy, Camilla, David, Kyle, and Star and Say. So they have to balance a ball on a pole as they keep adding like pole segments, and Kyle ends up winning. But there was a moment, again, going back to Jeff being sassy, where David is like, his strategy is to like hold the pole and look straight forward while everybody else is like looking up. Like Mary's neck was like that. Somebody said she looked like a giraffe. And then
kangaroo.
No, it was a giraffe.
Kangaroo.
It was a giraffe.
It was a kangaroo.
So David is looking straight forward and Jeff is like, that's the money shot right there. Looking forward for his money shot or whatever. And and then he smiles and Shaheen on the side says,
I was like, where are you going with this?
Says a $1 million smile, $2 million biceps.
Crazy thing to say about another man's biceps. In one episode, that is
one episode you making 2 comments
within
on
like
men's bodies.
Probably 4 hours.
Oh,
that
man.
was said. Like,
you know, I said in the first episode that I thought Shaheen was gay, and like he is just.
It was about 2 different men too. He's got his eyes on
the prizes.
Whatever else, whatever other man is willing.
Man, that was pretty wild. But Kyle ends up winning. And then once again, Jeff makes a comment like, you just look so cool right now. Like, you look like a survivor. You're covered in mud and this clean necklace on you. And then he gives him his buff and it's blue.
What did he say about when they the first part of the segment was over, when he was like, all right, you 6 losers watch these 6 winners or something like that?
Yeah, when purple won, he was like 6. He actually said, what did he say? Did he mention Cedric again? He said something that made Say go like, oh, Jeff is brutal. Did you notice that?
I thought it was the 6.
No, he said it after she said that. So I think he said something, and then
I think he listed off everybody on the team that lost, and he said,
no,
you guys lost.
What he did was, I think he said like these winners will get to eat or something like that, and just like pointing out like
what happened,
how bad this sucks, and then Say says that Jeff is so brutal, and then he goes on to say that these 6 losers will now watch the 6 winners in the immunity challenge. It was just pretty funny. So then Star suggests once they're all back, or no, actually they show the eating at what do they call it? Sanctuary?
Meal merge?
Yeah, for the 7. And it shows Star suggesting to vote Charity out. And then Say suggests Eva because she has Idol. I just, where are the advantages? Like, where are the advantages?
Yeah, this was another sanctuary or meal merge where nobody was looking for an advantage.
They at least don't show anybody looking.
Or they don't show it on, because typically even if they don't find it, they'll show people next to it, like really close. But there's no advantage.
There are no advantages, which is wild because there's only one idol and one block vote.
My guess is going to be this next episode, Say is going to be looking for it the entire episode. I think because she got the second amount of votes this episode. So my guess would be that she doesn't feel comfortable and she's just going to be looking for the idol the entire time, would be my guess.
Yeah, but I wonder if they moved it from the Logi tribe, or not Logi, Vula tribe, because they had planted a new idol out there, which was never searched for once the new Vula tribe was there. And then somebody used an idol after that. So I wondered if there would be 2 on the Vula island or beach, and neither of them were looked for. So I wonder if they moved them to
Yeah,
Loggy.
I don't really know how idols work when two people already have an idol. Or no, one person.
One idol.
One person already has an idol.
So boring. Come on. Like, where are the freaking advantages? They were like doling them out so early, and now it's like, where the hell are they? We used them. We need new ones. Bring them in.
Yeah.
But so that was kind of an uneventful like lunch merge meal. Besides those two names,
they really just brought up Charity and
Eva. So then they come back, and I just thought it was funny that Say was listing every single food item that was out there, and I wish somebody would have called her out on being a sore winner.
Yeah, literally the first clip they show when they all return is Say listing off every single thing that they ate and drank, and which is so cruel.
So cruel. I mean, it's way crueler than what Mary was saying. Like,
yeah,
I just wish somebody would have been like, and you were calling Mary out? Like, are you kidding me?
I think she said it to Charity and Mitch. Well, she also said it to Shaheen, but
she was saying it to multiple people.
She was saying it to multiple people, but I think the people that actually responded were Cedric not Cedric, Mitch and Charity, where they're like, "Oh, cool, congratulations."
Mitch was like, "I'm so glad you won."
Yeah, and the worst part is, if I'm Charity, I'm like, "This bitch stole it right from under my nose." Literally, she could have had that like set up for free.
So funny. So then that was after that. That was the moment that Star comforted Cedric, because he was crying quite a bit after they came back.
He was crying in his interview, and then he was crying on the bed, on the bamboo bed.
Which I kind of missed the part where, like, was she talking to him and he started crying, or did she just walk up and he was crying? Like, I
think she walked in on him crying. And she was like, no, we're not going to do that.
Yeah. And then they actually seemed to have connected over that. Like,
yeah, which I don't think they showed him on screen before that. So I was like, where is this coming from?
But and then it's just a lot of talk of Charity being the name, and then Charity suggests that Say should be the one voted out. Like, let's do an easy vote. Let's not rock the boat too much. And so we're just gonna do Say because everybody hates Say. And then they go to tribal. Did you feel like hair?
Look at all this fucking cat hair on me.
Yeah.
I laid in the bed and I got a bunch of cat hair on my black shirt, the brand new shirt. Anyway,
did you feel like there was much said at tribal?
No, it was a bunch of fucking. It was a waste of time, quite honestly.
Pretty much.
They just kept using analogies for what is like, oh, we're just one big happy family, but there's cliques, and they were like a dog park.
A dog park was pretty
sniffing
wild.
each other's ass.
Kyle was just trying to get Jeff to laugh.
I feel like unless there's like a lot going on, the first tribal after merge is kind of uneventful. It's usually like the first safe vote that they do.
It's just so crazy that there are people that make it to merge without having been to tribal council.
Yeah, I was gonna say, especially when there's people who don't eat. That was another crazy thing that I wanted to point out. David is like, oh, now we're going into merge. Now the game finally starts. Yeah. It's like, no, bro, the game has been playing this entire time without you. You've just been chilling on fucking easy road because you haven't actually gone to fucking tribal.
Yeah.
So people have been playing this game way harder than you have, and you're gonna make it to merge, and you're gonna find out real quick that nobody's playing with loyalty or integrity, and you're gonna get fucked. I feel like David he's not gonna make it.
I don't think so. And his whole talk of like bringing it up in front of people, like this is for honest and I just like that whole talk. It's like, I just hate it.
Are you
here to play the game or not? Like,
or are you aware of what show you're on?
Yeah, I just am not a fan of that. Like, all these people have a hard time like voting people off, and they all talked about like how much of a bond they've created. And somebody said like, I didn't expect to share like some of my deepest, darkest things or deepest thoughts with a lot of these people. Was it Star? No, it wasn't Star.
I don't remember.
Kyle? I think it was Kyle.
I think it was Star.
Anyways, somebody said that, and then a lot of people agreed.
A lot of nodding.
A lot of nodding.
A lot of like nodding and just like it's just kind of repeating. And
But I was just gonna say, like, a lot of these people are having a hard time with voting those other people out. Like, it's not like they're not honest people and not don't have integrity. Like, it's a game and they're here to win $1 million and they're gonna do it however they need to. And so most people like set aside this is game version me and this is like real life me.
yeah, which I kind of have a difficult time with that watching reality TV, at least competitive gaming reality TV. We'll watch something like Below Deck, and there'll be like a character like Weehan, and it's not really, it's just a piece of shit person.
Yeah.
And it's like that's who he is. He's a
Yeah.
piece of shit. Or
But
you'll
this
even,
is a different show.
or you'll even watch like a the challenge and see a Johnny Bananas, and you're like, that's a piece of shit.
That's a character though.
No, he's a piece
Well,
of shit.
he's a piece of shit and a character.
Yeah, he definitely plays up the part, and he is someone that you could probably have a beer with, but ultimately he's rotten to his core. He's willing.
I think he's just been on so many seasons that you see patterns and like
patterns and manipulation.
Yeah.
Affecting real life people. He'll meddle with people's relationships. He's actually broken up some people before.
He had the best karma done to him though for that.
Yeah, and he stole money from probably the sweetest person to ever play challenge.
That makes me so mad every time I think
and
about that. But anyways, I just do not like David bringing that up all the time now and implying that these people are not honest and don't have integrity. Like, I just don't like it.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it is a game.
Yeah.
I don't think Genevieve is a shitty person from last season. I think she probably is a nice person in real life. You know who I don't like actually on this season, who I think is not a great person in real life? Charity. I've seen her talking some shit off camera on Instagram. She was talking shit about Eva.
Well, Eva was calling her fake. Eva called her fake twice.
Fair. But I just think it's catty.
It is like catty, but at the same time, if somebody called me fake on TV, I'd be like, fuck you, bitch.
And you're also very catty, but either way, my point is that
if they're catty to me, I can be catty back.
I don't like Charity very much. At least
I wouldn't say she's my favorite person, but I just think that
I just don't like the way she played, as I think what it comes down to. And I think in person she's probably good. She's probably a nice person, but I don't like the way she was treating this season, and even off camera, I didn't appreciate it. But I think for me, this tribal, it was a win-win. It was either Charity or Say. And my prediction was I don't think Say's going to make it to merge. And technically, if she got voted out, she wouldn't have made it to merge.
She made it to merge.
But she made it to merge. So my prediction was wrong. And if Charity got out, she's my least favorite person on the island, so she got out. So it was a win-win for me either way. And I'm starting to actually like Say. I think
Say isn't. I mean,
I think she's still like. I think she's good entertainment, and I think
that's all she is.
Relatively harmless to Mary, who's probably my favorite person on the island.
Mary's your favorite?
Yeah, I think so. I just think she's pretty relatable to me, and I just like her attitude, and I think she's not really. I don't think she's like. I think she was dealt a shitty hand being on the tribe that she was, and not forming an alliance with the people that she was on the tribe with. And I'm really rooting for her. I don't think she'll make it, and if she does, she'll have to really play her ass off, and I would really love to see it. I think obviously merge is now the ripe opportunity to do so, because you're not tied down to a tribe where there's only like 4 other people to vote for. So I hope to see a phenomenal game from her, but
I think Camilla and Kyle are my favorites right now.
I think Camilla is probably top 3 for sure, probably second.
It was weird to see who voted for who.
Yeah, it seemed like the alliances were not as.
It seemed like the 5 honest people they split their votes.
Yeah, and I don't know if that was intentional or not, but
they did have a moment of talking about that. But
yeah, and it was actually
they didn't actually show the conversation.
We should actually point out that there was one vote for Cedric, and it was
It was
fucking
from
Say.
Say.
And I think that could have really bit her in the ass because there was one vote. It was down to one vote, and if it went to Say, it would have been a tie. Meaning that if it went to a tie,
She should have voted for
she
Charity.
could have went home. But if she
Yeah.
voted for Charity, then she would have been fine either way.
Was Say told that they were voting for Charity?
I don't know. Oh, well, that was her plan with her alliance.
I guess.
I think it was they were.
She just wanted one vote for Cedric in there. She couldn't like not vote for Cedric.
I mean, that's really her only guy. So like she's gonna.
She has a personal grudge.
He's gonna come back and he's gonna be like, "Yo, what the fuck? You voted for me? Like, what are you doing?"
Well, he's probably gonna be like, "Who voted for me? Like, why was there one vote?" And
Yeah.
I'm sure that instantly he's gonna think. Well, actually, after that challenge, I feel like I would come back and be like, "I kind of deserve that." Being so shitty in the challenge.
Yeah, but he didn't do it to Say.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't know who voted for me. Or I would think that there was a bigger pool of people that may have voted for me in that. But when it came down to it, I would know what to say. Because obviously he's voted for her twice now, is what he said. And then she's obviously a very, like, grudge holding person. So
Yeah, and hard to trust.
Yeah.
At least, like, I don't know. She's really gonna drag him down.
that just reminded me of the moment where Chrissy was like, "You gotta let her go. She's dragging you down." Do you have anything else to say?
No, I'm hoping this episode is relatively short. I didn't have actually as much as I thought I wanted to say.
My biggest thing was David and Joe, really. And just like that, and Eva. I mean, those are the people that are talking about being honest and having integrity and being loyal or whatever the fuck they want to say about themselves to make themselves feel better and higher than the other people that are there playing the game.
Yeah, but like I said, they have the majority as of right now.
They don't have the majority.
They don't?
No.
Well,
That's 5.
It's 5, but
there's 12 people. There was 13 before.
But they're 5 strong though. Like,
no, obviously not. They didn't vote together.
I guess that's true, but like if they really like sat down and like was like, "Yo, we cannot split votes," I feel like they would all vote for the same person. But with the remaining 7 or 6, how many people are left?
After their 5?
Yeah.
At this point, 7 because there's 12 people.
Okay, so there's 7 people left, and they're not really all together. I would say
not quite. No.
Like Kyle is still kind of Siva 5 at this point.
Well, and obviously in the preview for next week, he's working with Camilla to get Shaheen out. So
he might not be working with. Well, I guess
yes,
yeah.
He is.
I guess. Well, I mean, he might be like, "Yo, we can't get Shaheen out," which is crazy.
No,
they're already like devouring their own alliance, which I think is not a good time to do that.
Oh, I think it's a great time.
You think it's a great time to get Shaheen out?
I do.
That lowers their numbers. They're 4 left.
It's not their numbers.
What do you mean?
Kyle's true number is Camilla.
Yeah, but he needs more people under his umbrella to make it. Who?
Also, it said that Camilla and Kyle were framing Shaheen.
Yes.
They're framing him. So we don't know.
Framing him to get voted out.
Yeah. Camilla and Kyle are part of the Siva tribe.
Yes.
So they still have 5 there if they decide to go with them.
As well, but they have this whole like loyalty tribe or alliance. Well, I guess Camilla's not a part of it, but Kyle is a part of this group of 5 people that are pretty strong. Like as far as challenges go,
I don't think they're that strong. We've seen that in their first trial of being strong, they were not strong. They didn't vote together.
Again, I don't think this vote is that important for them to be as. I think if they really.
I'm just saying, like, as far as evidence of them being a strong 5, we do not have that yet.
Well, also, this was a more tricky vote because they had to vote for somebody that was within their other alliance, which is Siva. It really just depends on how Mitch and Chrissy and who else is on that tribe? Siva, Mitch, Chrissy, Kyle, David.
Kyle, David, Camilla.
Oh, Camilla. So it really just depends on how Mitch and Chrissy want to handle that, like this alliance going forward. I would hope that they talk about it next episode and they're like, "Yo, what's up? We gotta figure something out," because they weren't on the same page this vote.
Yeah, that's true. But I still think that Kyle is in a good position. I think that he could mend whatever with the Siva if he needed them. But I don't think he does. I'm curious to see how they're going to frame Shaheen.
I think they need both the integrity group and Siva. I don't think it makes sense to vote out Shaheen at this point. And Shaheen is not a threat. He's nowhere near a threat.
I mean, he doesn't have any advantages so far.
Even if he had a fucking idol and a fucking steal a vote and block a vote, he's not a threat.
I think he's like, there's been mention of him being a threat.
Yeah, but he's politically, he's not doing anything. Besides forming alliances that aren't doing anything.
This was his first tribal council,
it
right?
Was not, no. Because he got blindsided with Thomas.
Right, because he was on, Lula. I don't know. I guess we'll see how.
So his first tribal, he was already blindsided.
Yeah.
He's not doing good.
Yeah. I suppose. I mean, obviously the true threat is Camilla, I think.
Yeah, I mean, truly the greatest threat to everyone in the game is Mitch, Camilla, and Kyle.
I think Kyle's showing to be the biggest threat currently because he just won the individual immunity.
I think physically he's going to be a threat, and also he's socially he's buddies with everybody.
Well, and he is also aligned with, I would say, the most strategic person out there currently.
Oh yeah, obviously, but I think it's going to get to a point where they're gonna start looking at Kyle like, yo, he's winning immunity challenges, he's homies with everybody. Like, when are we gonna actually like look at the real threats and not just vote out the safe votes? And we're just gonna let this guy sail to top 3. That would, if I feel like Say would be the person to say that.
Probably.
To be like, yo, why are we looking at Mitch or Kyle?
It will come down to saying we need to get rid of Eva and Mitch.
Yeah. Like, guys, these sob stories. She's going to be the one to say that. These sob stories at the tribal are going to be too good to pass up.
How do you want to end this?
Let's just end it.